Hey guys, so I'm day 2 with these new tropes, these gummies. Yesterday was great. Very smooth, even day. No problem. Mood didn't change. I was focused on everything that I did. So just a reminder, these have 6 different mushrooms. They taste incredible. Little bitty gummies. This is called the snack pack. So you eat everything that's in the snack pack and they even out your mood. They help you with focus, energy. They support brain health, gut health, and sleep. You're gonna sleep like a baby. So check yours out. Click the link below. Get your discount by clicking that link below. You'll be on your way. Like I said, this is day 2 and I'm feeling great. New Tropes Gummy. Get yours. Here we go. Hi everyone, and welcome to OneMicNite, a podcast that brings you stories of artists and people on their journey, helping to guide, answer questions, and motivate you in life and the business. You already know who I am. It's Marcos Luis, and I am back in season 6. We are 19 years this week of OneMicNite, so thank you guys all for being along with me on this incredible journey, giving other artists a platform and a voice to talk about their art and their inspirational journeys. Today, I'm extremely excited. I'm excited whenever I have filmmakers and actors on, so we get to chop it up a little bit. My guests today are from the new upcoming movie, The Last Vendetta. I have 2 of the actors here with me, along with the writer and director, who also is an actor. You've seen him before on OneMicNite. It's Andre Joseph, and we are here to talk about the film. Welcome in, guys.
Hello.
How you doing?
Thank you guys all. Yeah, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Good.
Right.
So happy to have you guys here. So I'm going to first start off with Andre. We had you on before. We were talking about this new film that's here. It's here now. Let everybody know what the name of the film is and give us a little short synopsis of what it's about.
Yeah, so I'm here because we're promoting The Last Vendetta. It's the 3rd in a trilogy that we started way back in 2009 with the first film, which was called Dishonorable Vendetta. And then we did a sequel a few years later called Vendetta Games, both of which you can find on Amazon Prime and on Tubi. And, it's really the story about these 2 undercover drug enforcement agents, Keith Miller and Jason Stokes. Stokes, who I play, is the family man that's always been trying to balance work and family life. Miller's the one with the broken past because of his wife's murder and certain circumstances that led him to get revenge without any of us knowing about it. So that kind of eats away at him all across the entire franchise. So where we're at now in this 3rd installment is what I consider to be the rite of passage, where my character is looking to maybe step back, go into teaching because I have a kid on the way. JR here, who plays our boss Mark since the first film, he's about to be confirmed as the National Drug Control Policy czar. So he's getting this high position that's going to have to require him to leave his job. And then Miller is just stuck. He doesn't know what to do with his life. He's still haunted by his past. And then circumstances kind of collide because Marks goes missing after his confirmation hearing. And there's this assassin we don't know about that's sort of tied to our history and delivers information that puts us on a rift. And Malibu here, he plays FBI agent Bauer. So he's the guy that brings us on when one of his colleagues gets killed. And it turns out he's not being forthcoming with certain information. So it's like all this stuff that starts to collide and things that were bubbling up beginning from the first film start to explode here.
Recruited many good people into the agency. Out of all of them, they were the cream of the crop.
So urgent that we had to meet out here.
I got a call from the FBI to George Schaefer was murdered in his home last night.
Schaefer was working on something so big, he kept us all in the dark. I think this guy had something to do with it.
Hands behind your back, now.
Making this harder than what it needs to be. It's just...
The president's nominee for the Office of National Drug Control Policy, James Marks.
I tried everything in my power to stop the hearing alone.
You tried your way.
Do you have any remorse for the people you killed?
Let me see my DEA friend. What do you really know about Miller?
That he took everything from me. How do you think I feel? Go home. It's over.
Don't let it end like this.
We need to get Agent Miller into custody with as little noise as possible.
You're in trouble.
You better not cross me.
Don't worry. You're not the one I'm after.
Mark's never came up after this.
This is as important to me as it is to all of you.
I'll leave.
You sure you want to do this?
No one, and I mean nobody, is going home until he does.
When they find you, you're gonna be in a world of hurt.
These people are gonna bury us.
So I'll take the coward's way out. I'll trade everything for one moment with my wife, and there's no going back.
So this is how it's gonna end, huh?
Here.
Well done. First of all, I gotta say, I've already seen the film and it is incredible. And I had to go back and watch the other films too. And when I did, I learned so much more just watching it a second time than I missed some things in the first couple of films. Well done. Well done. Guys, how, first of all, tell us who your characters are and what role they play in the story. Jonathan, let's start with you.
Okay, well, yeah, my name is Jonathan Slack. I go by Malibu Slim and all my, acting name. And I play Frank Bauer. I'm basically a crooked agent. So I'm like you said, I'm not being forthcoming as far as the role. And, I'm trying to, I'm being underhanded. But working on the film set, like I've done a lot of, independent films and things like that. And the one thing that really stood out to me was the professionalism and the organization skills that Andre has. And, that really, I don't know if it helped the chemistry, but I did notice that there was a real good vibe and chemistry on the set. Like, you could just tell like, oh man, this is going to turn out really good. No matter what happened, no matter how much disorganization, like things seem to sometime, like there would be like 3 or 4 people trying to give going in 3 or 4 different directions. Andre would always pull it back in and keep everything on course, So I was really impressed with that. I'm partial executive producer on this film too, so I really appreciated just the professionalism of the way Andre put the whole thing together.
I like that.
I was really impressed by that.
I like that. It's always important because you need that sort of creative environment, to allow your creativity to flow. How much range did you feel like you had as an actor to, develop your role?
Yeah, well, with this, like what one thing that Andre did was he said, just, go with how just go with it and don't second guess yourself, And a lot of times on a lot of productions that I do, because I write films and make films myself, and I would ad lib or I would go in different directions, and even when I wrote. But what I did with this, being that I was on his production and the script that he and Chris wrote, I stuck strictly to the script. So I stayed with the script, and I didn't ad lib too much because I didn't want to take away from his storyline, but I felt comfortable because everybody everything was in place. Everybody was on point on their parts of what they had to do. So that I believe that it was easier because of that. There were no gaps,
Right.
awkward moments where where things like somebody didn't know what they were doing. So we all had to stop it. It was never that. So I just stayed with my part and everything else just fell into place.
Incredible. I love that. Yeah, we definitely need a nurturing environment to allow the creativity to flow. And if you feel, the professionalism of everyone else, the camaraderie, then you're able to grow. And that's what makes a beautiful film like you guys have.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to commend you because you did an excellent job. JR, you as well. Tell us a little bit about your character and your role in the films.
Yeah. So I play James Marks, and I've been with the franchise from the very beginning. And it's been wonderful to have this trilogy. We already knew ahead of time it's going to be a trilogy. And we are going to just see what happens and let people develop. And it's been an amazing ride to develop this character. And it's reflection of life. So we all have a job to do, but we also have a life behind our jobs. And this was an opportunity for us to really show that often in Hollywood, you see one-dimensional characters. And in Andre's script, we had an opportunity to really develop our characters into three-dimensional, full-fledged out characters who had both a job to do, but also a backstory and a story outside of the job. And I had the pleasure of playing this character and getting to really live. And even though there's like a little nuances that you see, you may or may not notice, and you go, okay, that's why he did that. That's why that happened. That's why this happened. Oh, that's what this guy is. And it's been a wonderful ride.
I like that. How much of your own personal experience can you say you added to your character, or knowledge from life that you added to your character?
Well, yeah. I mean, you get to, as a technical advisor, you get to show like my day job, and I get to utilize some of the things that I know that happens in law enforcement. But you also have to suspend. It's not a documentary, right? You have to suspend a little bit of reality, but you also you can ground it in reality, which is very, very important to Andre as well, and Chris as well. So we both able to say our actual experience in law enforcement, and then use that in a theatrical sense, and take it a little beyond the reality.
I like that. We got one more actor here that just joined us. I don't know if he's ready to speak yet, but tell us your name and your role in the film.
Grand evening, everyone. Everyone can hear me? You guys can hear me?
Welcome.
Yeah. All right, great. The legend JR is on. Andre, what's going on? My casting brothers, my acting brothers. What's up, guys? Mako-san, Mako like the shark, San with respect to the name, in the building, and I played the lead antagonist, Jeremiah.
And well done, I might add. What was your experience like working with these guys and working with this production?
I never work with them again. I can't stand them. Working with them was an honor. When you have a job and you get an opportunity to do what you love, and you get the privilege and get chosen to do it, the experience is always, always exceptional. Most especially when to add more depth to it, when the script is amazing. And Andre definitely, and Chris took the time to write a very, very, very well thought out script that pretty much closes a trilogy. So it was an amazing experience. A shout out to Buffalo 8 Productions too as well for picking up the distribution deal.
Congratulations on that as well. Yeah, guys. Andre, where did this all come from for you? I mean, I know you have the two, before this, but where does this idea come from? Because this was incredible. Like the first couple of minutes, I was about to lose my beep, just in all the action that happened there. It's really something.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the original one, Dishonorable Vendetta, it just came out of my love for the cop movies of the 80s and 90s, and shows too. So like Miami Vice, Lethal Weapon, Heat. It was the kind of movies that I'd always been wanting to do, and to try to do it like on a slightly upper level with real actors, and people like Chris's father, who was our technical advisor and helped us with the armory work, to really do it on a big level and to do it in a compelling manner. So, we knew from the beginning this was going to be a trilogy, down to the fact that there were a lot of unresolved issues after the end of the first movie, and that there was room for the characters of Miller, Stokes, and Marks to grow. And I think what happened for us was, after we did the second one, Chris and I would bounce around different ideas of what we wanted to do. We both agreed about bringing somebody back that had a tie with his wife's murder. And then when the pandemic hit, we were in lockdown, we just started writing as many pages as we could. And he was the one who actually came with the idea of JR's character going missing, because there was a documentary that came out called The Last Narc, which was about the CIA agent Kiki Camarena, who was involved in investigating drug trafficking in Mexico, goes missing. And there was this whole conspiracy with the Reagan administration and their ties with the drug cartels, which shows like Snowfall and others have really well documented pretty well. So I wanted to kind of tap into the politics as well as just continuing their story, because in the other movies we've dealt with regular drug cartels, we've dealt with like underground casino security that's fronting the business for a bigger operation, but now I want to show that other side that most movies don't really get into, which is the dark money, the politics, how it's all kind of tied together. And that's even more dangerous than, like a Pablo Escobar type that just cuts heads off. Like, no, these guys who are in Washington and their dirty deals with these bankers and all these other folks, that's the real scary stuff. So I figured that would be a great threat for these guys, and find a way to also resolve their story. So they all kind of just came together, just going through the back and forth, and even getting JR's input for where Mark should go, and personal things as well that kind of went into it.
Love it. This movie is it's crime, it's mystery, it's a thriller, it's action, it's all those things. As you said before, JR, it's dimensional, multidimensional. What were some of the challenges that you guys had emotionally and physically in this filming this? It's in one scene in particular. Is there one scene in particular that had the emotional or physical challenge the most? Jonathan, I'll start with you.
No, it was really exciting for me because, I came from California and I flew out there to New York to film. So every day was really a pleasure, because, I hadn't been in New York before, but, just to go on the film set. And like I said, because it was so organized, that made it very interesting while even during the process. It made it very interesting and very exciting because as the film unfolded, I could see the scene unfolding, and like I could tell movie magic was happening, and Chris's passion and Andre's passion, and it was a pleasure to work with JR too as well, with everybody as well. So, I didn't really have any adversity or any, things like that. It seemed to go really smooth because it was organized.
Okay. JR, what about you?
Thank you, Jonathan, for saying that. I appreciate it because we had quite a bit of adversity. Locations was very hard. The beach scene was very hard to do because of sound. Finding locations is always difficult. Finding people who are willing to really put it all in, is difficult. I mean, especially with this being a trilogy, we had the opportunity to see when we had bad actors or bad people involved, and we had great people involved. And at this point of the trilogy, we were better oiled machine to make it all happen. But there's always issues, but we've overcome every time. And it's great because, especially in this kind of a situation, we were able to have each character grow up. Yes. And that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Everyone grew up in their own way. Even though I'm the boss and I'm the older G, I had to grow up and mature. If you see the other ones, you'll see how I matured. And it's a fascinating thing to see. Everybody gets to mature. It's not just the antagonist, just the protagonist, just the one guy, but everyone got to really expose and expound and grow. But that comes with challenges also.
Right.
Yep. We have to find and we all have to overcome our personal challenges as actors, and also technical problems as well.
Do you feel like you fit into your character a little more? Like, you just, I got a better grip of what this character is.
Yeah. It's old skin, it's old skin, but also it's a character. It's not really you.
Right.
So you have to keep a separation because it can be dangerous if you try to pretend that you are this character, who's almost invincible. We had a funny thing back and forth, Andre and I and Chris, because I don't want to give anything away. I want people to see the movie. But we changed a couple of things toward the end because of my ego. I'm not going to lie. I got a little bit, I'm going, wait, we shouldn't do that. But then they agreed and said, you know what, we'll play along. And it actually worked out pretty good, I think, at the end when it's all said and done.
Yeah. Andre, challenges physically and emotionally? I know you probably echo what JR said, but do you have any other ones?
Well, I think, this was like the most smooth that I've been through on most shoots, because the first two had their rocky parts, but this one, I mean, the crew was really tight. Everybody was eager to learn, bring extra tools to make scenes better than they were on the page. I think there were the challenges of like maybe getting certain actors into character. Certainly, as JR mentioned, there were some locations that sometimes may have not been the most cooperative. I know when we shot the entire finale sequence, we knew that was going to be a tight day. And I think one thing that I had to make sure I put people at ease at was the fact that obviously it's a very stunt heavy movie, a lot of gunplay, a lot of martial arts. So besides having Chris's father with us to help with the armory work, Mako was great with all of us with coordinating the fight scenes and keeping everybody safe. And that was really the thing I stressed the most all throughout, was just sort of like not always trying to get the perfect shot, but just making sure, okay, let's get the impact we want, but also at the same time, let's go home unscathed, because we know how, some of us that don't have martial arts experience, things can happen very easily, but he made the process so streamlined for us that we were able to pick things up very quickly. Some a little more than others, but generally it helped the process go very smoothly on the set.
I like that. I think that's one of the good things about doing independent films is having the leeway to, we're there to tell the story. We're there to tell the story. The shot does not have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exact lighting. Of course, you want to make it as good as possible, but tell the story. Tell the story. That's what we're there for. We're storytellers. And we, not only through the writing, but us through our medium as actors or as a producer, we're there to tell the story. So it doesn't have to be perfect. But like you said, come through unscathed. You guys had some, fight choreography. And I was a little nervous, and it looked great. That's why, we're nervous. But
it looked good in person.
Yeah.
Like in person, when we were there filming it, the fight scenes looked amazing. It looked choreographed it looked like a real fight scene, when we were there. So I knew it was going to come out really good.
Oh, great. And it did. Well done. Mako, how was your development of your character being the antagonist? A fantastic job too, by the way, I have to say.
Oh, thank you, Marcos. I appreciate you. Shout out to Jonathan. I didn't see you there. My bad. It's great to see you. Yeah, I like that, dude, because we have the same barber. Can you tell? Look at that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So just to give you a short backstory, I started with stunts back in 2008. So, I've been in Batman, Dark Knight Rises, The Avengers, Age of Ultron, and, some of the Avengers films. I've done John Wick, 3 and 4, and a slew of other films. So I started with stunts. And I wanted to transition out and do more acting because, WD-40 is getting expensive at Home Depot. So, spray that on the joints. It's every day. It's pricey. So this was a humongous grand opportunity, and when I decided to transition into acting, I made a very firm, decisive decision to make sure that I'm always casted as an antagonist. I want to play a bad guy because bad guys, they have no safety, and there's so much. There's a huge realm to explore. And then I did my homework. I watched the first two Vendettas to understand where this character Jeremiah, where he's from, what's his foundation, his reason, his why, as to what he did and why he did it. And there wasn't really a lot to work with. The only information you gathered was from the writing and from their dialogue between Chris and Andre's character. So I had to create a backstory from it. You asked an interesting question, Marcos. Was there any real life experience? And yeah, Jeremiah, I've been Jeremiah, in real life. I'm a 124th Street and 2nd Avenue, Wagner Projects. Probably ran into JR a couple of times. You probably don't remember me. You know what I'm saying? So I've been Jeremiah. You understand? So, the beauty about life is that it gives you so many references and anchors that you can pull from. But JR made a very interesting point. So long as you do not become attached to the character.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Respect to Heath Ledger, God rest his soul. You know what I mean? So, so long as you know how to detach.
How do you detach? How do you detach?
I'm a martial artist, man. Mm-hmm. So, I've been doing martial arts since 6 years old, and I fought all the greats. I fought, you guys may heard of Raymond Daniels, MVP, Michael Venom Page. I fought MVP twice. I fought Ross Levine. He's a very famous K1 fighter. I fought all of them. So we understand wins and losses in martial arts, because when you go to a karate tournament, you got 3 or 5 judges. They're going to judge your fight. And then, if you stay ready, you don't got to be ready. So if you're ready and you're trained, you're good. Even if you train, the other guy may have trained harder than you, and he got the better hand that day. But a loss, we don't lose, we learn. So it's 24 hours. So within 24 hours, you got to detach, because there's a karate tournament next weekend. So I can't linger on this karate tournament that happened today. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for martial arts and for doing this since I was, 5, 6 years old, that I know how to detach from characters and move on to the next project. You know what I mean? So, it was easy to detach. To answer your second question, to answer your first question, I always wanted to play antagonist. So, I had a lot of anchors to draw from my young knucklehead days. You know what I mean? That are behind me now, which I'm grateful for them, because I can use them to bring these characters to life. And hence, that's what you experienced in the character Jeremiah. He was just, when I wrote his backstory, it was cold as fudge, stone cold. It was like, don't care, not a concern, cold blood. I'd kill your mother. Well, Jeremiah will kill your mother, will kill your children in front of the parent first, and then kill the parent. Kind of like Benicio del Toro did in Sicario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that was a good reference point too, as well, that I gathered from. But, it was a lot of in-depth backstory, and then just learning to be cold. So what I did, weeks prior to shooting was, I told my team in my karate school, like, I'm going to answer you very minimally. Yes, no. Do you understand? Are we clear? Are we, do you know what I mean? So I would answer so I can be more deeper with the character. And then when we get on set, then, one of my favorite scenes is the interrogation scene where Jonathan, he bitch slaps me like I owe him money, excuse my language. And then I'm asking to, I want to speak to Andre. So, there's when you really got the depthness of the character of Jeremiah and how cold he is. Yeah. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Excellent. Excellent. How do you guys detach, JR? How do you detach?
Um, it's you have to go into a character understanding up front it is not you. That allows you to have an exit door. And then once if you go in with that character, I have a lot of actors who I've worked with over the years who haven't done that. And that's with training most of the time. I went to acting school and learned that because I didn't understand it initially. I was trying to, redo Denzel, man. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Until I understood that you have to walk in with a plan and for an entrance and exit point. And once you do that, you can detach because you have it already conditioned in your body to walk out of a character. That's so important because if not, you get wounded. As we mentioned, Heath Ledger. We mentioned there's quite a few people who, because they can't detach, it becomes a crutch and eventually hurts them. In more ways than one, and we don't want to have that happen. Andre mentioned earlier, it's all about safety, and also being able to detach is also safety for your mind, safety for everything we have inside of us. So you have to walk in. I've always walked in with that plan.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right on that. Because you have to remember, even though you are this character, it's JR playing Mark or, whatever the situation is. So if you're in a combat situation in the film, you have to remember you're not actually that person. You're playing that person. So you have to know exactly where the boundaries are for that, that
Exactly.
thing.
Your body doesn't know the difference. When
Right.
you're in it, your body doesn't know the difference. So you really feel everything. Everything feels very real, but because you've established an exit door, it's like the Matrix. You know where a door exists, and you can go to that door when you need to.
Absolutely.
So important.
Jonathan, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, mine is I was preparing for the film, and actually I came across an interview with Robert Downey Jr. And he was talking about method acting, right? So then I said, oh, you know what? I said I'm gonna do that on this one. So maybe 2-3 months, before the film, I became Bauer. My girlfriend was sick of me. Everybody just called me Bauer. You know what I mean? And I would answer questions as Bauer. I would act, I would be in that for a lot of times, sometimes not the whole day, but, for hours. I'll go to the store, and then so I started really feeling comfortable with the lines because of that too. You know what I mean? With the method acting. I began to see things from that perspective, as Agent Bauer, And my favorite thing to do is to play a crooked cop. So I think that's when, because I had a podcast on, that's how me and Andre met. And I told him, like my favorite role is a crooked cop, like one of the movies I wrote. So he was telling me about this movie, and I said, oh man, I would love to do this, I mean? So method acting, I stayed in I was in the character for months before. So when it came time to do it, it really felt good because I was in the moment that I've been preparing for so much, But after it was over, it's over. I wasn't still Bauer, afterwards.
Right.
But if I can just say something, JR is right. I mean, and shout out to my acting coaches, Steve Danmeyer and Terry Schreiber Studios too, as well. For all the actors that are listening out there, it's very important to study so you can understand your craft, because it's a craft. It's a craft, and there's certain elements in the craft that you have to be aware of, and that's definitely. I like the way JR stated it. You have to have an entrance plan and an exit plan, because it's just a character that you're bringing to life. So have fun with it, but it's just a character. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
You do the job, you read the script 5,000 times, understand what's going in the story, and you definitely have to take classes for that. I agree with JR, on that. Definitely, all you guys that are out there, if you wing it, you're gonna tell the audience. If you wing it and don't train, the audience can automatically tell they can automatically judge your performance based on that. They'll know, or you can't fool. It's not like 10, 15 years ago where you can fool the audience and not. No, it's so much information out there that now the audience they have a higher receptivity as to whether you can perform or cannot perform. So for all the actors that were listening, definitely play it back and listen to what JR said. Entrance plan, exit plan, and go to classes so you can bring these characters, to life and make them very memorable, very memorable.
Absolutely. Classes are ongoing. Doesn't matter what level you are, there's always stuff to learn. Always. Andre, any detachment?
Yeah,
thoughts on it?
I mean, playing the character as long as I have, like when I did the first one, I was telling somebody earlier, like I wrote myself to play Chris's character, and I figured switch the parts because he has a little bit more fire than I do, and I kind of wanted to play the family man type anyway. I've been playing mostly like single guys in my older movies back when. But as it went on, I saw room to grow this character, and I felt that Stokes had went from being the loyal partner to then sort of like not finding the balance so much in the second one, and then ultimately realizing sometimes you got to lose a little bit of control to get to save your family. But this time around, it's interesting because I looked at him as somebody that for the longest time, he always could rely on his partner. He'd always rely on his boss. And then you see what happens when his partner goes a little rogue, when something gets discovered that completely throws him off, and then his boss going missing. Everybody's kind of thrown into chaos. So he's now having to step up and have to be this leader he didn't think he could ever be and be at the forefront. And I know personally I can relate to that from earlier films that I've done, like Priceless, where I was like literally out of film school with no safety net. You don't have a college that's going to, give you free equipment to rent out or anything like that. You're pretty much on your own. So it's a struggle to have to keep people in line and to make them confident. And it's taken me a very long time, still trying to figure that out to this day. And so I think approaching it, I was trying to look at him as a grown adult as opposed to where he started in the beginning. It was like a few years into the job. And of course, having to direct the film as well as to act in it. I mean, I've been doing that forever, but here I felt more comfortable, not because I knew the character, but because I had my longtime assistant director, Albert, who always watched my eye. He knew my style, so it was great with our cinematographer, Demetrios, having the monitors on set, so he could look at my performance, and then I could look at the playback, and we could decide, should I adjust something? Should I, if we're good, we can move on. And just looking at the other actors like JR and Mako and bouncing off of their energy when we're doing scenes and knowing kind of like where I have to raise my level or have to bring it down just a bit. And so when I can find that emotional wavelength that I want to go into, then I know what to turn on and what to turn off once the cameras are rolling.
Right. Well, I got to say, I can tell from going back to what I was asking JR about, I can tell from watching the previous films of the trilogy, the progression of how much more comfortable the actors are in their characters. Like you said, how they've aged, but I can just see the comfortability and the chemistry that you guys have in this film that really makes it work. What's the big takeaway from this? What do you want everybody to take away from this film? Incredible film, I should say.
There's so many takeaways, I mean, I'm sorry, Dre, can I go?
Everybody, I want everybody to hop in on this.
Yeah. So takeaways, it's funny because I was at the, I don't know how to pronounce it, the Asian International Film Festival yesterday. I was there, and I was part of a film. And one of the takeaways is believe in yourself and just do the damn project. And one thing that I always speak to, people always are like, Mako, so how is it that you do this and that and this and that? And something that one of my mentors taught me that's profound. He told me, when you have an idea, the first thing is it doesn't belong to you. It's just you're the rented soul that's supposed to bring that idea to life. Okay. So if it's a song, a poem, a script, a film, whatever it is, it's your duty and your responsibility and your obligation to bring it to life. Because here's something really deep, people. for you guys that if you don't write that song or write that poem or do that film, can you live with yourself by killing somebody? Because you're literally going to kill somebody. And what I mean by that is that if you would have written that song would have been presented to that person at the right time, and it would have saved their life. Mm-hmm. So you have to do that project. So the takeaway about this project is, just like any project, and for all you guys that are in your head, go do the damn project. I mean, Andre, this is, I think, our third film that Andre has casted me in, if I'm not mistaken, or second film.
Second one, yeah.
Second one, right? And, Andre has to be like one of the most dopest directors ever because he knows how to work with people. That's another takeaway. Work with people. You understand? Yeah. We're all striving for the same goal. So work with one another. And my third takeaway is go get the movie on Amazon Prime and go check it out for yourself and enjoy it.
Exactly.
So you can see what's going on.
That's right. That's right. Sir. Andre, takeaway? Did he say it all? Mako said it all?
Well, I mean, I would say thematically there's so many, but I could kind of limit it to a few things. One is that, in a time where there is a lot of darkness in society, especially in the powers that be, sometimes you have to take a stand. And it's tough, it's dirty, it's rough, but sometimes you got to crawl through the mud in order to get to the end goal and to find that freedom. So there's that. I think in terms of my character and Chris's character, for Chris, there's the notion of sometimes you have to, in order to move on, you got to confront your past. And that's the only way you could ever truly grow as a human being in life, is you got to fight those demons that we all have within us. And I think for me, it's that there's going to come that point in time where, you're not going to have your parents or your teachers or your mentors hold your hand forever. There comes that point where one day you're basically on your own. So you either have to fall in line like everybody else and play it safe, or you take a stand, be an individual, step up, and be the leader that you believe you can be to inspire other people. So you've put that all within a vacuum. That's really what The Last Vendetta is about. It's a rite of passage, and it's about these characters growing to a place where their lives are going to be altered forever.
Well said. Well said. Anybody else want to add anything?
Well, I just want to say again, it was like a well-oiled machine. Everybody, what I took away from it was that, I've been in a lot of different, different productions and situations where everybody didn't do their job fully. Like some people were focused on the wrong other people's job instead of focusing more on their job. On this production, everyone was focused on what specifically they were supposed to do. So I just saw how that synergy just made everything come together so well. And even when it was getting, sometimes, things they're starting to veer left or veer right a little bit. Andre did what his job was as a director, and he put everything right back in place. And I saw that. I was amazed by the way he did it. He did it eloquently. He did it firmly, and he did it precisely, and he was very polite, but very firm about everything and very clear and focused, and I just saw how that allowed everyone to do their job to 110%, So I learned from that. I was impressed by that, but I learned from that.
We experienced that. So I want to share something with you guys, right? Marcos, did you see the film already?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so the final fight scene, okay? We only had about 50 minutes for location. So Andre's like, hey, Mako, do you think you could knock this fight sequence out in 35 minutes? What do you think? And I'm like, and here's a fun fact for you, Marcos. The final fight scene between Chris and I, shout out to Chris. Chris is a beast. That whole fight scene was improvised on the spot.
What?
Yes, sir.
Get out of here.
I was blown away by it.
The fight looked good in person.
Wow.
Yes, sir. The fight scene with Katrina and the other young lady, that they came to my studio and we ran through the choreography. That's why that looked like a little bit more cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
But Andre was like, Mako, we only got 35 minutes, so we're gonna have to pictures up and I'm gonna call action, do what you gotta do. We improvised the entire sequence right there on the spot.
Wow, man. My hat goes off to you for that. That's incredible. Incredible.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I want to let everybody know where we can find you guys on social media, and then let us know when the film is coming out so we can all watch it. Should we watch it with popcorn, or should we watch it with a beer?
Both.
Popcorn, beer, and candy.
Yeah, okay. Andre, let us know where we can find you and when the film is coming out and all that.
Well, I have a link tree with all my social media. So it's Linktree, AJEPYX, my production company. The Last Vendetta is going to hit on August 29th on Prime Video. And if you have Spectrum or Verizon Fios, you could either buy or rent it through your cable provider. And then September 12th, it'll be on Tubi, Plex On Demand, and there may be some other platforms we'll announce shortly. I should also mention, by the way, in addition, we have social media for the film on Instagram, TikTok, and on Facebook. Just type in The Last Vendetta on the search, you'll find it. We have a release party on September 6th in New York City at Sola's, and you can get the tickets for that on Eventbrite. We got prizes, special guests. Mako's going to do a special demonstration, and there's going to be free food. So we definitely encourage people to come out, and it'll be a nice celebration for the film.
Love it. Love it. Jonathan, how can we get in touch with you?
Oh, well, MalibuSlamFilms.com. I have a film school, and I like dealing with new filmmakers. That's my passion. I like people who are new to the process. So that's why I do. It's a 90-day film production workshop. MalibuSlamFilms.com.
There you go. JR, let us know.
Oh, okay. I don't have social media like that.
That's all right. What if somebody's looking?
I'll be in the moment, man. But I mean, anyone who wants to reach out to me, please reach out through AJEPYX to Andre, and he'll find me because he always does.
Good to have a connect like that. That's it.
Yes.
Mako, let us know.
So, if you need me for acting or fight design or fight choreography or stunt coordination, acting, of course, you can always hit me up on the IG at Mako-san, MAKOSAN Pro, PRO on IG. And my website is MakoSanActor.com. So you can email me there, and definitely the team will get back to you. And, or I personally respond to, I pretty much like to respond to everybody, speak to everybody. I like to talk.
See that?
Yes, sir.
All this excellence right here. There's no way they can miss this film. So thank you guys, everybody, for showing up today. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Time is the most valuable thing you can give, so I appreciate it. All the notes will be down in all the information will be down in the notes of this episode, so please go down there and we'll link you guys up. Thank you guys all for watching. Please share this episode. My name is Marcos Luis, MarcosLuis. The show is OneMicNite. Make sure you check out The Last Vendetta. It will be on Prime and Tubi. Check out the other parts of the trilogy, the other two films. Thank you guys for joining me for this episode. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.